Guys, you join me on Wednesday morning, heading to Emerald Kart Club for round 3 of the Australian Kart Championship. This is my first time doing this sort of video, doing more of a vlog sort of style. Now I've got the 360 camera, and let us know what you think of it, if you like it or if you'd rather the usual sort of montage style videos. But yeah, that's what we're doing today. Only 40 minutes from the track now, so not too long to go, and I'll catch up with you later in the weekend. I hope you enjoy. Have fun out there. What do you think? So here we are, practice time. So time to get any little niggles in the cart that we have that are holding us back out, or sort out any issues, or dial in the setup. Thankfully we didn't have any problems. Cart was absolutely on rails. Engine was performing great, so main thing for us was just to fine-tune gearing, fine-tune the tuning of our Iami K100 as well, and just make sure we were on top of everything heading into the rest of the weekend. So here we are on board for Thursday practice. This was an absolutely awesome session. As you can see by the results on the screen in practice, we had a 4th, a 1st, a 4th and a 5th place. So that really set up our weekend really well. We were full of pace, full of confidence, and jumping on board to a Friday practice now, you're going to see a bit of an onboard lap here. Before we get too far into the video, if you do find yourself enjoying it at any time, please consider liking it or subscribing to the channel. It may not seem like a lot, but it would mean the world. So here we are, qualifying time. So this is where all the games stop, and we see everyone's raw pace, and it's time to really just do the best job that we can in this 6-minute session and see if we can come up with the goods. Cutting onto lap number 2 here. Got my teammate Luke Tross behind me, so this is really good track position here. I'm in a good group with good karts around me, so theoretically you'd think that I could secure a good lap here and really set myself up well with this qualifying session. But as we're about to see on this main straight, I did exactly the opposite. So I've got a really good slipstream here into turn 1 up behind Benito Montalbano. I've got a good bump draft, straight down the inside, and unfortunately I make a very untimely error. I'll just overcook it into turn number 1, and that really cost me in this qualifying session, because that was my lap number 3 where the tyres were at their absolute prime. But unfortunately, with ruining that lap, my tyres, I'm going to have to set that lap time later in the session once they might have gone off by maybe half a tenth or 1/10. And I've lost my perfect slipstream, which I had spent so long setting up. So a bit of an unfortunate set of circumstances there, but I did it to myself, and it's something that I have to learn from moving forward and really just get on top of. So lots of lessons to be taken from there. Pulling in early from the session because I'd set my lap time and we weren't going to go any quicker. Qualified in 11th place, only 1.5 tenths from pole position. So that just goes to show how tight the grid is, and how one error, just a tiny little error into turn number 1 on one lap, can really mess up your qualifying session and put you down the order. So, onto the heat races. Out of the 42 karts, we get split up into 2 groups for the heat races, so that's why I'm starting out of 6th position. On the outside, we're going to see if we can do anything here. Red lights go out on the left hand side and we're away. On the outside into turn number 1, we're going to hold it tough, see if we can do anything or make something happen off of this start. And we're getting a little bit boxed in here on the inside. Josh Bernard goes straight around the outside with the momentum, and we're trying to get to the inside. Can't make anything happen on Salvatore, so we're down 1 position here off the start, but that's not going to matter because into the turn off of the back straight, Salvatore goes straight up the inside, which allows us to slip through as well and back up to 6th place. Having a look at a replay now from the rear facing camera, down the bottom of the hill, and we see the Tony kart on the inside goes for a massive bomb dive. Doesn't quite pay off for him, but good on him for trying. That gives us a bit of breathing room behind, so we're definitely not complaining about that one. On to the end of lap number 1 now. We're sitting behind the number 16 of Hunter Salvatore. You can see at this point in the race, I didn't quite have my tune right, because watch down the straight. We lose quite a bit of ground here. I didn't quite have the tune quite fine-tuned. I know there's a lot of tunings there, I said. Yeah, that goes to show with these Iami K100s, air-cooled engines, how crucial the tune is. You can get tricked into thinking that you may not have an engine that's quite on the pace, but if the tune of the engine is just slightly off and you haven't got the fuel to air ratio quite right, then you can really cost yourself. So I took a couple laps here to really get that right, and it definitely paid dividends later in the race as our performance came on. So cutting to the end of lap number 2, heading on to lap 3 now. The number 14 Arrow kart in front is looking a little bit vulnerable as my teammate Luke Trost in the 47 goes up the inside. So he's fallen back through the pack. He was the pole sitter. Salvatore now goes up the inside as well. So this is looking like our time to pounce on him as well while he's a little bit vulnerable. Coming down the back straight, he gets a big chunk of understeer mid-corner, and that invites us straight in. We're going to go for the move, not messing about or wasting any time. As soon as I saw him starting to want to defend, I thought this is the only time I've got to go for the move, because if I wait around we're going to lose that front pack. So cutting onto the rear facing camera, and this was a really cool addition this weekend. This is the first time I've had the rear facing camera, so it was a chance to have a look at karts behind us and see where they might be stronger or weaker. And one thing that we were noticing in this heat race is we were just generally strong everywhere, particularly this section here. Turn 3 and 4, the kart was really good through there, hooked up nicely, and also the last corner. That one was really good as well, as we're going to see later in the lap. Coming down the hill, into the canteen corner, watching Thompson's kart, back up the hill. We had good pull up the hill as well in this race. One thing you're going to notice into here, I take a slightly wider approach on entry. I can't say whether it was better or not, but it was just something that I noticed that I was doing slightly different to the competition. Cutting on to lap number 6 here, we've caught up to my teammate Luke Trost, and we're going to go straight up the inside into canteen corner. Boom, move done. So I didn't quite want to go for as big of a dive bomb as I did, but we're going to see on the rear facing camera here, I didn't really have much of a choice, because Thompson gives me a little tap, and that lets me know that if I don't go for a move, he's going to go for a move. And as you can see, that was one of those moments in the race where it's either I keep my momentum going forward, or Thompson gets past and my momentum starts going backwards. So that's a really defining part of the race, and I had to make sure that I kept momentum going forward. And that's exactly what we did. Straight up into 4th place now. Bit of a gap to the leaders, but that's not going to matter. You can see now onto the second last lap of the race, and we've managed to reel in the top 3 from about a 1 second margin. So a bucket load of pace in this race. We're really capitalising on that pace that we showed in practice. Obviously qualifying didn't quite go our way, but due to a mistake I made. But in heat number 1 we're really making up for it. Charging through onto the last lap here. We're going to see if we can set up a move. This is the closest we've been all race. Into turn 3 and 4. Again, the kart hooks up really nicely through those corners. Onto the back straight. And coming down into the canteen corner, we're going to see a bit of a moment here. Big understeer moment. So right as I was setting up a move, big understeer moment just as our wheel tracks crossed, heading off to the back straight. I'm not sure, it seems to be something that's quite common with the LeConte tyres. If you follow them closely and your wheel tracks cross, it just creates instant understeers. So we didn't quite get the move done, but still super solid race. Stoked with that 4th place in the end. Heat number 2 now, into the night. You can barely tell that it's night time how bright these lights are. So awesome lighting facility that Emerald Kart Club have got. Starting out of 6th position here, on the outside again. I'm going to see if we can do anything, make anything happen, or gain any spots. Doesn't look like it. Everyone's being pretty tame through these first couple corners. We get a little bit boxed in on the inside here, and I make a big mistake here. I go the outside line, whereas I really should have been on the inside, because as we look at the rear camera here, I've got 3 karts directly to my inside, and there's not a lot I can do into this bottom corner. 4 karts straight past me there, so instantly one little mistake through one turn and you're straight down 4 positions. We managed to hold Keegan in the number 1 kart behind us, so that was only 3 positions, but still definitely not an ideal start. We've lost a lot of ground there. Heading onto the back straight on lap number 3 now. Romeo Nasser gets a poor run after battling up ahead, and we're going to see a bit of an unfortunate moment here. Keegan goes up my inside, but I don't know he's there. I go for a move as well, and that pinches Keegan on the inside. So unfortunate for Keegan. I had no idea he was there, so that just led to him being pinched on the inside. But fortunately for us, we lived to tell the tale. Last lap now, on the back of Bilardo and Nasser. We didn't quite have the best pace in this race, but we're making do with what we've got. Down into the bottom corner. Not quite anything happening there. They both defend to the inside. We're going to get up and get a nice run up the hill into these last 2 corners. Nasser's going to defend this second last corner, sorry. And we're going to throw an absolutely savage bomb dive. Boom, straight up the inside. Not the kindest move, but it's one I had to do. But yeah, so coming home in 9th place. Righto, on to Saturday heat races. As you can see, this is a wet one. We've woken up to a wet Saturday morning. The rain's well and truly set in for the day. So that's something we're going to have to contend with throughout the day, and really dial the kart in for those wet conditions heading into the final. Heat number 3, starting off of 5th position, the inside this time, so we have to take advantage of this start with our inside start. Lights go out, we're away. It's been a solid start. The outside has a little bit of a slow getaway, and we're straight up into 3rd place, so absolutely fantastic start there. Holding off of 4th place on the inside of us. You can't quite see on the front facing camera. Salvatore gets a poor run out of there, so we're up on the inside looking for the move into here. Can we make anything happen? Not quite. He's got the wet line on the outside, so we're a little bit compromised. Down into Canteen Corner, and unfortunately Amos all gets up the inside of us, so that drops us back down to 4th place, but still a relatively good start. Can't really complain about that one. 5th to 4th, and avoided all the potential carnage in turn 1. Obviously there wasn't any carnage, but there's always a lot more potential for it being wet weather, so we avoid any drama. 4th place now, onto the end of lap number 1. And something that we're going to see in this race is, moving forward, we are going to struggle in the wet weather, and that's not down to driver or setup. We tried everything throughout the day, but yeah, so there was this weird thing. I think there was a fair few of us actually. Quite a few drivers got a dodgy batch of wet tyres. From the information I've been told, this batch, it didn't have time to cure. It was a brand new batch straight from manufacturing, and the tyres were super soft. Like it was crazy how soft the tyres were. And usually you'd think that tyres, being softer, they'd provide more grip, it'd be better, you wouldn't be complaining about that. But with these wet weather tyres, because they were so soft, the square wet groove edge just wore straight off the tyre. So we came in from this race, and the tyres, they had nothing left after 12 laps of wet weather running, and that really shouldn't be happening. So as you can see in the background here, we're just getting eaten alive. So our tyres were roughly a second a lap slower than everyone else's. And that's not to say that, maybe some people were doing the wet weather slightly better than us, but we tried everything throughout the day, and wet weather is actually, one of our absolute strengths. So finishing 8th place in this race. On to heat 4 again. Thankfully it's dried up a little bit, so we don't have to contend with those wet tyres for too long. Into turn number 1, holding it on the outside. Into turn number 3, can we make anything happen? Oh, unfortunately we go too hard into there. Get a drop down penalty straight away on the back of Hugo Garraway, so I've just underestimated how much he'd slow the kart down there, and I've gone straight into the back of him, unfortunately. So that's something we'll have to put in the back of our minds and continue on. Currently in 6th place in this race, and have a look at this. Haven't quite got the engine power in this race. I believe that something happened in the wet weather in between heat 2 and heat 4, because we went from having really strong engine performance to now obviously in heat 4 we're really struggling. So whether the piston's been glazed by the wet weather, or maybe some water's gotten in there, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for this race, a race where we could have really taken advantage and moved forward. As you can see, coming onto the main straight here, we've got a good exit slipstream, and I'm actually losing to the kart in slipstream. So we've lost 2 kart lengths down the straight while we're in the tow. So that was a pretty telling factor of how much we were struggling in this race for engine power. So walking wounded here, just trying to limit the damage, coming home in 8th position again.
What a spectacle it's been!
Here we are, finals time. So this is the one that everyone's got their eye on, the one that we've all worked our way towards the end of the weekend to try and set ourselves up nicely. We're starting out of 12th position this one. The rain's coming back down again, so we're about to see chaos kick off. Into turn number 1, we're 3 wide. We've got karts on the outside, karts on the inside. 2 karts ahead of us, run a little bit wide, kicking up sparks. Into turn number 3. There's karts everywhere, and there's karts facing backwards up ahead. That's my teammate Luke Trost. We're forced to go straight across the grass and rejoining. So we've managed to survive all of that somehow. Not too sure how. So we're going to see a replay here from the front facing camera. A little bit more visibility from this one, so you might be able to see what happens. My teammate Trost, he gets bumped around midway through turn number 3, so that's the reason for him facing backwards. And that's just forced everyone to go either left or right of him, and it's absolutely kicked off mass chaos into turn number 3 and 4. Down into Canteen Corner now, we're taking advantage of all the chaos, straight up the inside of Hunter Salvatore. So that's us up into 7th place, so 12th to 7th off of this race start out of the 40 karts. So we're not letting these dodgy wet tyres keep us down, we're taking full advantage and really trying to push forward while we can. Onto the main straight again. Seeing if we can make anything happen. We're going to cut to lap number 2 now. Salvatore goes up the inside of Benito Montalbano. He overcooks it slightly, so that allows us straight back through up to 7th place. The number 12 and number 5 kart side by side down the straight. Montalbano backs out at the last minute. We're right on his rear bumper now. So at this point in the race, I'm feeling really hungry. I'm trying to push forward as hard as I can and really make the most of these early laps while everyone's bunched up. So into the second last corner, we're not wasting any time, straight up the inside. So position number 6 now, so we've halved our starting position, 6 to 12. Sorry, other way round, 12 to 6.
The 55 of Matthews, he's in 5th spot now.
Cutting later into the race now, Keegan Fraser gets up our inside into turn number 1. Not much we can fight with there. Coming into turn number 3 and 4. If you're wondering why they're named turn number 3 and 4, there's a slight little kink after turn number 1. And that's called turn number 2 according to the track map. So I'm just going off of that for the turn numbers. Unfortunately, at this point in the race, our wet weather tyres are coming back to really show their disadvantage. We're struggling to fight against the competition. There were others in this race that also had tyres from the same batch that I know of, and it's the same story for all of us. Salvatore gets up the inside into the second last corner, so we're down to 8th place now, but still hanging in there, still charging forward, full of energy, trying to make something happen out of this final. Cutting later into the race onto lap 10, we've got a massive battle going well into the top 5, so we're still in this. Right on the back of Elliston, seeing if we could make anything happen down the back straight. Not quite anything happening. Can we set up something for the canteen corner? Yes, we can. Getting a good run off and straight down the inside, up into can't quite remember the position here, so I'm not sure where we are up into. Heading back down the main straight on the next lap. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep Elliston behind, so he manages to snag that position back, and that demotes us down a place. Coming out of this corner, getting a good run up the hill, just trying to put the pressure on, seeing if he makes a mistake.
Here, there's Elliston in the 5 for TD Racing. He's boxing on out there. Then behind Elliston, it's Rainer Costello in the 56 in the top 10. He's having a great weekend.
Unfortunately, the GoPro didn't record the last 5 laps of the race, which was really unfortunate because it was an absolutely fantastic battle for the top 10. I was hanging on, holding off 2 carts behind me, and yeah, it was a real struggle, but I had a lot of fun. They caught me with 4 laps to go, and I just pulled out all of my years of experience of racecraft to keep them behind. So we ended up finishing 11th on track out of the 42, which, according to the results, ended up changing to 8th place at the end of the race due to some drop down penalties. So as of recording this video, it says 8th place on Speed Hive, so I'm not sure if that'll stand because some of the results look slightly strange on there, so I'm not sure if they correlate properly, but I'll take it, 8th place. So yeah, we did the best we could on those wet tyres, and we really maximised all our opportunities with the package we had this weekend. The Techno Kart was faultless all weekend, absolute dream to drive, and responded well to everything. CC Race Engines, Clint Cathcart, thank you for the awesome horsepower. Obviously we struggled a little bit in Heat 4, but that has nothing to do with anything to do with the engine building. That was just down to the wet weather playing havoc on our motor for that race. And of course, I'd like to thank all my sponsors: Techno Kart Racing Australia, CD Motorsport, Cohen Day for all your ongoing support, CC Race Engines, R&H Refrigeration and Air Conditioning, Elite Plastic Fabrications, Brighter Learning Tuition and Training, and of course Ultra Fresh Aircon Cleaning, who actually came out to the track on Saturday night to support me and cheer me on, and it was awesome to show them what karting's all about. So thank you guys, it was awesome to have you there. So that brings an end to our video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the different style of video. I thought I'd give you something different. It did take a little bit longer to produce, but I think it's well worth it. I'm really happy with the final product. So if you did find yourself enjoying the video at any point, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It goes a really long way in supporting me and seeing if this is something that I can really take more seriously and keep making awesome videos for you guys. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.